It could have been a lot worse. I've had a problem. It's an electrical problem. It's an intermittent fault where it happened a couple of times. I got an alarm come up and it's low oil pressure warning. And I thought, that ain't right. So I pulled over. I've checked it. Checked the dipstick. The oil's fine. Like, okay, well, that's bizarre, isn't it? So I've rung Mark. Mark says it's a sensor. He's gone, right, it's a sensor. He's okay, fine, we'll have to get another sensor for that. He said, but see how you go. Didn't happen. All the next week just didn't happen. And then you forget about it. And then this week, Monday, went to drive off. Beep, 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 low oil pressure. Now I know that the oil is fine because we have the trucks checked every Saturday. Mark checks the oil, he checks the water, he checks, I mean, we check them anyway. But the mechanic actually gives the whole trucks a once over once a week. It's basically, you don't have to, but it's going to save you grief in the long run in case it's going to, if he finds something like obvious, hang on, that's hanging off, we better do that. Stops you accidentally breaking down. So I've gone, right, okay, well, that's a pain. It's that sensor again. We have to change the sensor. But hopefully, I'll do it at the end of the week. I know it's just a sensor. I know that the vehicle is fine. That's cool. Next day, I'm driving along. Every time I hit around, stop, and then you think, I know he said it's a sensor, but what if it's not a sensor? So I've got up the next morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. I've gone into DEFs. I've got a sensor. I've got Mark to meet at the yard at 7:30, like I say, lovely fella. He's there for an hour. First he couldn't work out where the sensor was. Then he put it on, tried it, still got that same problem. Now I'm not happy driving it. If it's got a red light on, I'm not driving it. You don't do that, that's not the way forward. So I'm like, I'm going to be off the road today. So anyway, I spoke to him, he said, I can't do this. He said, this is going to be like a computer thing. Rung DEFs, they haven't got a booking until a week Thursday. I'm like, that's going to put me off the road for Thursday 28th for nearly 7 days, and that is just to look at it. That's not to fix it. That's not to get the parts in. That's just to look at it a week Thursday. I'm going, this is not good. I'm not happy about this. And then you don't know what it's going to be. Could be expensive. Fortunately, my mate Mark the mechanic knows a guy, electrical engineer, and he's mustard. He's got a daft computer and he's really, really good. So we've rung him. I've made an appointment at DAF's, got to cancel that. And I've rung the electrical engineer, and he said, I'm chock-a-block. I can't make it tonight. Hopefully tomorrow night. And I'm thinking, well, that's still better than a week Thursday. So he said, we're definitely not going to make it tonight. Now it's my birthday on Sunday. And I was going out for a drink with my mates. So I thought, well, rather than go out on the Wednesday night when I'm supposed to go out, we'll go out on the Tuesday. And that way, I'm not going to get up for work in the morning. I can have a drink. That's absolutely lovely. And also, otherwise, I book it for the Wednesday night. And a guy said he can do it on Wednesday night. I can't make it because I've got to get the truck fixed. So I've got a lift into the Dunstable. The missus had dropped me off. I've gone into the bar just to order a pint, get a phone call. I'll be there in 20 minutes. So then I've had to drag my mate, who's just arrived at the pub, saying, I'm ever so sorry, Nigel, but we're not, this isn't happening. Do you fancy coming and fixing a truck with me to the yard, get an Uber to the yard, stood there in the pouring rain for an hour where he took apart this conduit thing, had about 30 different wires in, found a wire that was slightly broken. And he kind of went, could be that. Could well be that. It's got like a few chips out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that wire. So he's replaced that wire. Took him an hour in the dark, in the pouring rain. And he went, right, well, you just have to see how you go. I weighed him in. He wasn't too dear for a call out of a night time and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I've got to say I was very pleased with the result. But I didn't book a job for the next day because I thought, if I go out tomorrow and I drive it, it goes da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, I'm just going to park it up again and we have to put it in the DEFs. And he says, in fairness, he said he could fix it. But he said if it's not this wire, it's an ECU. And he said you can get second-hand ECUs or reprogrammable ECUs, but to me that just sounded expensive, long-winded, and I'm going to be off the road for quite a while. So, anyhow, so I've gone out at a drink. I've woke up at my own leisure yesterday, took it out for a test drove it for about half an hour, absolutely fine. I think, well, that bodes well. That looks like it is the wire. So I'm back to booking jobs again, Thursday today. Yes, I've done my first job already. I'm up here in Lutterworth. I've got a job being loaded up for Egham, and I've got to say, it was a wire. So rather than being, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've lost 2 days. I've been off the road for 2 days, one of which I could have gone on the road for, but I just didn't want to risk it. And I didn't want to break down with a load on board or something like that. I just didn't want to do it. But and then of course you're in recovery fees and stuff like that. But I've lost 2 days' work, and it's cost me a little bit of money for a geezer to come out and change my wire. When I first happened, I thought I could lose a week's work, and it could cost me an absolute fortune to get it fixed. I was even contemplating, because we're still waiting on Coventry, my favourite phrase, I actually contemplated going to buy another lorry and thinking, well, I'll park this one, get the other lorry, get this one fixed when I can, and then when Coventry comes up, either stick the lorry in Coventry or something like that, because the amount of time I was going to be off the road for, you couldn't buy a lorry, but you could buy half of one. It was like, well, certainly put a large deposit on it, and I just thought, I can't knock that to work. So, but yeah, so the moral of this story, there isn't one. The moral of the story is sometimes mechanical things break, and you can't do anything about it. They've got moving parts wear out. What you have to do, as I say to Lisa, keep some kind of perspective. As 3 years ago, I was on the absolute floor, and now I feel like I'm running up a hill. And I'm probably about halfway up that hill. So if I slip a little bit down, that's fine. I'll catch up, I'll keep running up. But what you've got to bear in mind is at the end of the day, it's not health, it's not family, it's only money. And I know money is important because money feeds your family, it keeps a roof over your head, it keeps bills on the table. But I had to get some kind of perspective. So I didn't pace up and down, going, oh God, what am I going to do? So, but anyway, and this is fixed. Fingers crossed, pleased to say we've had no red lights now, and long may it continue. So that's it. I'm back on the roads. I did do an awful lot of intensive gardening. I think I did 10 trips to the tip because they cancelled me green bin now. So I've got like all these overgrown edges I've got to try and destroy. So I didn't waste my time. But yeah, Thursday today, and it's time for me to catch up by taking care and taking money.